in just a couple minutes.
John, we do have Director Sayori Bowen on.
Hey, Sayori, quick sound check.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, no camera, under the weather.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate you joining in.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you. Thanks. I was just shooting you a text. All right. I think we have a quorum now. Let me see who was expecting. I was expecting Cynthia McCord-Miller hasn't shown up. I know Deborah Martinez isn't going to make it. Becky Emery should be here in just a few minutes. And Tracy Belton isn't able to make it. Everybody else is on the line, and we do have quorum, Michael, so I think we can get started.
Excellent. We'll try to keep this meeting on time because I got a flight to catch. All right, so we'll go ahead and open up to any public comment on any items not on the agenda.
So we have a hand raised, Michael, from Shelley.
Okay, Shelley.
Hi, everybody. I'm making public comment today. My name's Shelley Dew. I'm the CalFresh Program Manager at the Hunger Coalition in San Diego, and my public comment is regarding the email requirement to access a Benefits Cal account. And we really appreciate the effort going into preparing for the transition into this new statewide system. And we've seen that consumers of social services often represent vulnerable populations that are most affected by digital inequities. Community-based organizations serve clients who have been unable to navigate benefits system on their own, and many of these clients are often low literacy, low tech, and do not use email. So we've recently heard from assisters in other counties, since San Diego County hasn't transitioned yet, that have navigated to Benefits Cal, that they have had to add creation of an email address to their workload for clients to gain access to a Benefits Cal account. So this additional burden slows down the process for accessible benefits and makes it really impossible for some clients to get access. So this additional business process has also caused us great concern, considering the influx of consumers that we anticipate will need the support in the future when Benefits Cal gets implemented into San Diego County. And I just like to put into perspective on the challenges people we serve face. According to the Pew Research Center's survey on the digital divide amongst households by income in the U.S., roughly a quarter of adults with household incomes below $30,000 a year, 24% say they don't own a smartphone, and about 4 in 10 adults with lower incomes do not have home broadband services at 43%, or a desktop or laptop computer at 41%. And 25% of adults 65 years or older do not go on the internet at all, and the statistic gets a lot larger when income gets accounted for. So these are the populations that we serve, and to ask them for an email might seem really basic, but it's a tremendous barrier to overcome. So some solutions that we're proposing as advocates is instead of the email requirement, is to include a phone number option for people when they sign up, or allowing for username creation and verification via a phone number. So we know that some people will still experience barriers even with these alternatives, but if we're able to create supportive access for assisters, we hope that even clients with the most barriers can get help. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your consideration of these requests as we work to support people across California accessing these services.
Thank you, Shelley. I see another hand up for Lily Dorn.
Hi there. Can folks hear me okay? Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment here today. My name is Lily Dorn, and I am raising comments on behalf of the Community Clinic Association of Los Angeles County, CCLAC. We appreciate the opportunity to provide comment here today on the Benefits Cal website. We represent 65 community health center organizations throughout LA County, 62% of those patients, of the 1.7 million patients that we serve, are covered by Medi-Cal, and we employ hundreds of enrollment counselors who assist patients with applications and renewals for Medi-Cal, Covered California, CalFresh, My Health LA, and other social services and programs. Obtaining and retaining Medi-Cal coverage is essential to patients' health and well-being, and also integral to the success of the state's effort to transform Medi-Cal into a whole person focused program, and to really serve folks under one system that is Benefits Cal. So CCLAC is recommending that the CalSAWS project consider the following recommendations to strengthen the functionality of Benefits Cal to more explicitly reflect the anticipated Medi-Cal enrollment and renewal environment in the coming years. The first one is to enhance visibility of renewal information. Currently, Medi-Cal renewals and address verifications are hard to find. These are common functions that should be easy to locate on the main page of the website. We wanted to also put forth the recommendation to improve search functionality, really improving the accessibility of the Benefits Cal search bar by allowing for the search function to appear on that main web page of the site, and then simplify address changes, examine ongoing consumer challenges with submitting address changes to assess whether these issues are related to technology or business processing structures, and advanced solutions to resolve these issues, to ensure incorrect addresses are not hindering Medi-Cal members' receipt of critical notices impacting their enrollment or renewal. Really, and the fourth recommendation is to leverage partners just to alleviate pressure on social service agencies and improve customer service experience by allowing health centers and other CBOs to submit a change of address on behalf of their clients. And then the fifth and final recommendation is to empower enrollment entities to really ensure there is no further delay in the release of the integrated release of information, currently expected to go live in May 2023. We expect and hope that this will allow CHCs and other CBOs to track the status of Medi-Cal applications and approvals in real time, very essential to the ability to effectively support their patients and clients. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to provide our comments in regard to Benefits Cal system enhancements as it relates to the unwinding of the COVID-19 PHE declarations, and we certainly thank you for your partnership and your consideration, and we look forward to continuing to work with you to serve all Californians. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Any other public comments? Okay, hearing none, I just want to respond back to the public comments that we do take access to our programs very seriously and are going to continuously look at options and opportunities for us to improve that. And we'll be engaging you through our stakeholder committees and outreach to reach those subjects. So
Can I make one last
There
one?
might be one more
Oh.
comment from Gabriella.
oh, I see one. I need another hand up. Gabriella.
Thank you. Sorry, I
Thank
had to join a bit late, but yeah, so my name is Gabby Davidson. I'm a policy advocate with California Association of Food Banks. And my public comment is regarding the need for a public dashboard for Benefits Cal. We understand that API for data collection and reporting is part of the Benefits Cal requirement. However, even though Benefits Cal is a public-facing aspect of the migration, the data related to its usage is not being shared publicly on a regular basis. As advocates committed to the success of Benefits Cal as an online benefits tool, we believe that access to data is an important part of supporting transparency and identifying opportunities to continue developing the tool. We are requesting that CalSAWS project identify a timeline for when a public dashboard for Benefits Cal data will be made available. And knowing that this request will likely be referred to the enhancement list, we request that in the meantime, CalSAWS project provide monthly summaries of Benefits Cal data broken out by county that include the number of applications submitted per program, the number of renewals in SAR 7 submitted per program, the number of support requests submitted, the number of change requests submitted, the number of Benefits Cal accounts as a percentage of overall caseload per county, the number of submissions of applications, renewals, and documents submitted by CBOs in CalFresh, summary of the topics and issues identified in the Always On survey responses each month. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your consideration of these requests as we work together to support people in California who need these services. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriella. And to the public comments, these are recorded, so the project will have these to refer back to, and we will be looking into each of them. So thank you very much for your public comment. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move into the next area of the agenda, and I believe that takes us into our action items, John.
Yep, the first action item, JPA board members, is the reoccurring authorization to conduct our public meetings via the emergency order for COVID-19 that still remains in effect. This is open for board consideration or question.
Do we have any questions from our board member state partners on this particular item? It's been on our agenda for the last several agendas.
I'll move to approve. This is Chris.
Okay, just before we go ahead and approve, Chris, any public comment on this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll have Chris's motion to approve. I'll go ahead and second that.
Thank you, Michael. Marla, do you approve?
Yes.
Very good. Rachel?
Yes.
Becky, are you on yet?
Good morning, John. Yes, thank you. I approve.
Thank you. Gilbert?
Yes.
Thank you. Sayori?
Yes.
Thanks. Han?
Yes.
Thank you. Roxana?
Yes.
Thank you. And Cynthia?
Good morning. Yes.
Thank you so much. That brings us to our regional government services amendment. And this is an ongoing sort of administrative amendment to do some adjustments with our regional government services contract that we do a lot of our project staffing with. So this amendment is an annual update to the cost of benefits as their employees go through open enrollment. It does realign a couple of positions. It is the business analyst and office assistant positions. It provides a 5.1% raise. It gets them to about the same level as our administrative county being San Bernardino, and it adjusts those so that we can stay competitive in this very tight labor market on those two very important positions. Our other positions are in alignment with San Bernardino as we go forward so that we don't need to do a realignment on that. We're reconciling our FTE count with our contract, and there's a couple of administrative updates on position descriptions. So this is open for board consideration or questions.
John, these are a certain set of positions. It's not across all the RGS positions. It's a specific certain set that have fallen out of equity with the market. Is that?
Yeah, it's the business analyst position and an office assistant position that we are adjusting so that it is in alignment with San Bernardino County. The rest of our positions are in alignment with San Bernardino County.
Okay. Any questions or comments from our board members on this particular item? Interstate partners. Okay, hearing none. Any public comment on this? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
This is Marla. I'll take the second.
On with the motion and Marlo the second.
Very good. I will take roll on that one. So Rachel, do you approve?
Yes.
And Becky?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Yes.
Sayori?
Yes.
Roxana?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
And Cynthia?
Yes.
Very good. That brings us to our consent calendar. The first one is really change notice 23, which you could see from the slide and on your agenda as a number of different premise items, pretty routine that we have as we go forward. So that change notice will utilize just under $2 million as we go forward. The first item on the consent calendar is the minutes. And the minutes are from our November 18th meeting. The action items that are documented on the last page and second to last page of the agenda. Many of these items are on the agenda today. They're going to be taken care of as specific agenda items, or they're going to be handled as we talk about our risk management topic. And then item number 2 on our DEI update will be part of our January meeting. Item C on the consent calendar is Gainwell change request number 6, which includes county directs using CalSAWS terms in the CalSAWS contracts. Those are county purchases from the various CalWin counties on county directs. They've been approved, and those are within budget and the contractual amount that we have for Gainwell. So those are this whole consent calendar is open for board consideration.
Thank you, John. Any questions from our board members or state partners on any of these 3 items? I see on.
I have 2 questions. One is on 6B and then one is on 6C. It may be a question, maybe better offline, but with respects to the mass notification for the ending of the CalFresh emergency allotment, I do know that we need to do that. It's very important. I was just curious, what does that entail? Is it just printing and mailing the notification, or is also some development? Because I looked at the documentation and it shows almost 1,900 hours and $315,000. So I was curious what work beyond just the mailing of these notifications is going to go into that is justifying the rate.
Yeah. I'm going to ask either Lisa or Karen to come on, but there is some development work to be able to trigger those notices, query that. I'm presuming, and I need Karen or Lisa to confirm that is also going to be done in multiple languages, and also need to go through a significant testing process as well. Karen, Lisa, are you out there? Can you confirm?
Good morning. You captured it.
Okay.
Thank you. And my second question on 6C is respects to the Exhibit I, and it's specifically for San Diego for the processing of non-discrepant EVES and IFD. I was just curious if once that's built out, are other counties able to utilize something similar to that? Because I know that Orange County and some other counties may have the same need for that. So I was just curious if that's transferable for other counties to utilize as well.
Thanks, Don. I don't know if Don Wilder or Diane are on and want to comment on that. If they're not, then we can definitely take an action item and we can follow up offline with you on Diane or Don.
Hi. Yes, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Don. Oh, I was just going to say yes, with all of our county direct work, which is done for a particular county, we are more than happy to analyze whether that would apply to another county. We usually look at those as they come in and try to find out if there's interest, but if there is interest by another county, we are happy to look at that because we do then reuse the functionality.
All right, thank you, Don. Do you know if that functionality will also be available when CalSAWS come live for the CalWin counties?
I do not have that answer. So unless Lisa happens to know, we probably will have to take that one back.
Okay, thank you.
Not hearing Lisa or Karen chime in, we will definitely take that as an action item and follow up on that.
Thanks, Don. Any other questions or comments from our board members or state partners on any of the 3 items on the consent calendar? Okay, hearing none. Any public comment on any of these 3? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and ask, is there anyone who willing to make a motion to approve the slate of 3 items?
I'll move it.
Thanks, On.
I'll second. This is Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
Very good. Marla, do you approve?
Yes.
Rachel, do you approve?
Yes.
Good. And Becky, second. Chris, do you approve?
Yes.
Thank you. Gilbert,
Yes.
Sayori,
Yes.
Roxana,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
and Cynthia.
Yes.
Excellent. That closes out our action items, Michael.
Okay, great. So that takes us to information. Does that take us into informational? I think it does.
It does.
Wave one status update. Is that still the first one?
Yes, it is. So hello, everybody. This is Arnold Malvik. I'll go ahead and start us, and it'll be teaming up with Duncan to go into the county support highlights as well. So overall, from a wave one status perspective, system highlights for CalSAWS and Benefits Cal is that we are very happy to report that there are no major issues to report. The system has been performant over the past month. I have slides later on and further topics that will show that. System performance remains normal. Benefits issuance is occurring normally. Priority issues are being triaged through daily calls with Placer and Yolo. And really, I want to compliment Placer and Yolo on such an excellent job being the first go live with our Cowlin counties. They have really been a very successful in the uptake on the CalSAWS system. So, as well as for the other 40 production counties, we were very happy to admit that the go live for Placer and Yolo was a non-event for them as well. So overall, systems are performing well. We continue to do tuning on that as we prepare for future waves. So with that, Duncan, do you want to cover the county support highlights?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Arnold, and good morning, everyone. So from a county support perspective, consistent with what Arnold said, Placer and Yolo have been absorbing the change very well and making the transition to CalSAWS relatively smoothly. In general, business is proceeding normally, both for intake and ongoing functions. The counties are able to serve their customers and get benefits out. We are continuing to provide enhanced support as we will have planned for each Cowlin wave for the first 60 days post go live through both the command center and virtual support channels. And in general, those support mechanisms have performed well and been able to provide the counties with what they need during this critical transition. We've seen the number of inquiries steadily decrease week over week and have been at a very low kind of number of calls and inquiries over the last several weeks. Our support will continue through the end of this month as we start our pivot and to focus on wave two. In general, things have gone well, and the support that's being provided is what the counties have needed. But we did find some opportunities for adjustment that we'll be applying for waves 2 through 6. So looking forward to continuing to support our Cowlin counties over the course of the next 10, 11 months as they go live. And I think that that's it from a county support perspective. So Arnold, I think I'll pass it back to you for the risk update.
Yes, if we move to the next slide, we do have one risk that we have left open for those wave 1 counties, and that is risk 279. It's regards to the Cowlin counties may not be prepared to reconcile fiscal and submit state reports timely as they migrate to CalSAWS. The reason why we have left this open is because when we went live, that was on October 31st. So there was 1 month's worth of data on CalSAWS or 1 day's worth of data on CalSAWS, 30 days on CalWin. So the close for the month of October was a hybrid close that they had to go through from a reporting perspective. The month of November is the first full month of all data being on CalSAWS. So we are continuing to work with the counties and going through that month-end reconciliation process. And we expect that this risk will be closed next month after we successfully complete that. So I think that's the summary for overall wave 1. Michael, I think we can return it back to you for questions.
Yeah, thanks, Arnold. Appreciate that. And thanks, Duncan. Any questions from our board members or state partners on this particular item? Okay, hearing none. Any public comments? Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation. Appreciate the update.
Absolutely.
Move on to the next.
Michael, that brings us to our next agenda item and looking specifically at waves 2. And for the first time, panning the lens over to wave 3, which isn't that far away as well. So ask Catherine to join on camera and she'll take care of wave 2 and Yang will be taking care of wave 3.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. Excited to talk with you all this morning for wave 2. What you're looking at right now for wave 2 is the Gantt chart. And as you can see, we are about 2.5 months away from the wave 2 go live. There is a lot of activity. We're going to cover more of the details on the executive summary on the following slide. But this provides a visualization of where we are today. And of course, some of those key milestones and the dates that has occurred and will occur over the next 2.5 months. So if we can please move forward one slide. This is the executive summary for the Wave 2 Readiness Dashboard. The information that you'll see on the screen and in your packets is as of December 2nd, but I will also be providing some updated information of where the status or the activities are that have occurred since then. So if you recall, we're going to cover the 7 different readiness areas and then specifically a work thread that corresponds with that, and of course the status of where items are. So we'll start with application readiness. There is a CalSAWS release 23.01 for January that is on schedule. It is currently in the testing phase, and there are no issues or any other items to report for the release. For the contact center readiness, all 3 counties have approved their IVR contact flows. And in fact, all 3 have also approved the SCRs, and all 3 of the contact centers from a development perspective are in process. So that is one of those core updates that Contra Costa has approved their SCR. Moving into imaging, items continue to be moving forward. There are 2 primary activities that we anticipate will be ongoing up until the go live. So those 2 activities are, the first one is the county export of all of their legacy images. And then second, Highland is receiving and uploading those images to the production environment. Both of those activities, again, will take place and continue to occur over the next 2 months. For Benefits Cal, the core item that the team has been focused on in the last several weeks has been around the CBO conversion file. That mock run is complete. And then also the counties have received the CBO extract file and are working with the teams on that. The training and the communications will begin in January regarding Benefits Cal. For Central Print, the key update here is just that the configuration load continues to be in progress and those validation meetings are ongoing, looking at the type of inserts that are going to be mailed and just validating that information with the Wave 3 counties. We're not going to cover UAT because both of those activities for the application readiness have been complete since the September timeframe. The next readiness area is the integration, and we'll spend a little bit of time on this one just as it is slightly behind schedule. This is the county interface partner test. Each of the counties have a different number of interfaces that are going through that testing process. And I do want to provide an update for you all of where that testing is as of this week. So for Contra Costa, they have 100% of their 6 interfaces have passed. For Santa Clara, they have 6 of their 10 interfaces have passed. So again, this is an increase of where we were about 2 weeks ago from today. And then from a Tulare perspective, they have 8 total interfaces, of which 6 have already passed. County IPT is scheduled to go until the end of this month, and both the counties, Santa Clara and Tulare are working with the project teams, and we do believe that this will end on time. For the state IPT, a couple of updates here. All but one of the interfaces have passed IPT. So the state has the state has 11 different interfaces, and the only one outstanding at this time is the meds interface. And again, this activity will continue through the end of the month, and the teams are confident that this will be also finishing on time. From conversion perspective, the team continues to move forward, analyzing any of the defects that are coming out of CDV, and those activities will be ongoing, and all of the preparatory activities as well. From a technical perspective, county network connectivity has been completed at this time. So when we meet in January, you would see that this is actually going to be marked as blue as this activity has been complete. For performance testing, the batch testing is ongoing for the 45 counties, and it's in progress and again on schedule. If we could please move forward one slide, we'll pivot a little bit and talk more about the training readiness area. So a couple of items have been completed. It's the master training plan as well as the ILT training curriculum. Wave 2 county classroom setup, which is of course all of the logistics for instructor-led training execution, that is ongoing, and there are no red flags regarding the classroom setup or the workstation validation that is occurring right now. From a WBT, from a web-based training perspective, a couple of things to note is that the end users, all county staff, have access to the LMS where they are taking those WBTs. That is in progress, and the teams continue to monitor the progress of that as each individual has their own unique training curriculum, and their learning journey map has been outlined according to their job and the functions that they'll perform, which also then feed into the program for their instructor-led training. For ILT, currently the teams, a couple of updates. Early learning has wrapped up as of last Friday. Early learning, as just a recap for everyone, early learning is a customized program that lasts about 10 days for each county, where they can choose what curriculums they can have their staff attend. And for example, one of the things that we found for Wave 2 is that their county help desk and some of their supervisors have attended that early learning. And it's almost like a glimpse into additional learning that they'll have. From a train the trainer perspective, the train the trainer is also ongoing. That will be wrapped up this week. The train the trainer program is where the staff development or the county trainers are receiving the training for them to be able to assist that back of the classroom instructor-led training support. So it is a lot of hands-on, and that initiative will be complete by the end of this week. And coming right back after the holidays on January 3rd is when county end user training begins for all 3 counties. Moving into the organizational readiness area, we're going to start with org change management. The change discussion guides have been approved, and the counties are currently conducting the change discussions with their staff. The team is providing office hours for anyone that would like to, that needs additional assistance or would like additional practice areas. Those office hours are available for them. From a change readiness survey perspective, the team is presenting the T-3 survey results. They presented those results to Tulare last week, and the meetings for Santa Clara and Contra Costa occurred this week. In addition, they are providing the December infographics. They are currently under development. They will be distributed to the counties next week. And there are 2 infographics specific for the Wave 2 counties, and they are regarding rescind and reapply, as well as rush warrants. Switching gears just a little bit, we're going to first touch on the configuration. All 3 counties have completed the configuration work, and that information has fed into process simulation. Santa Clara and Contra Costa have completed the process simulation, and Tulare began their process sim this week. That activity will continue through the end of next week, and then process simulation will also be closed out. On behalf of implementation, the first area we wanted to hone in on is the planning efforts. The Wave 2 planning has been underway. We actually met with the counties last week. We conducted the initial county profile meetings. We validated that with the counties and are currently also working with them to understand the level of effort for post-implementation support that would be needed come February 27th. So the teams are working with the counties on the overall post-implementation support, as well as the structure. From county prep, you'll see that it says not started, but a few updates here. The county prep CIT, which is CIT 0355-22, was released last Wednesday, December 7th. That CIT outlines the county prep kickoff materials, the configuration guides, and the supporting documentation that the counties will have during that county prep period, which begins in January. The county prep kickoff meeting is scheduled for December 20th, and the intended audience of that are the county points of contact, the implementation points of contact, the technical points of contact, and security administrators. Moving on next into the help desk, the initial trainings have been completed for the ServiceNow fulfiller and submitter trainings. We do also just want to mention that there is a refresher training that is scheduled for next Tuesday, December 20th. All right, and then lastly, the county ad hoc reports. As of right now, we have a little bit of an update regarding this activity as well. Both Contra Costa and Santa Clara are working with Gainwell to assist in the refactoring of those reports that are needed for day 1 of go live. Contra Costa has identified about 73 reports that require refactoring, but not all of them are needed for day 1. So they are working with Gainwell as well as the consortium ad hoc team to prioritize those as well. Santa Clara has identified 64 reports to be refactored, and also working with Gainwell and the consortium on the next steps in the prioritization of those. Moving forward 1 slide, this slide really reflects from a county perspective the activities. Again, and you'll see that the items that are slightly behind schedule, they are the same as what we just spoke about on the previous 2 slides. One was regarding interface partner testing on the county side, but then again, there has been a lot of progress since the 2nd of December, and more progress will be reported over the next week and a half as well. The other item has to do with the ad hoc reporting, and the project teams with the counties are working very diligently on this effort to prioritize those reports that are needed for day 1 of go live. The chart on the table on the bottom left hand of the screen is a snapshot of all of the readiness activities that are required for go live by county and the status of those activities. These activities are discussed throughout the pre-implementation phase of the project, and are also included on the county-specific readiness checklist that we continue to monitor and discuss and work with the counties on. The pie chart, again, is just a quick refresher. These just indicates, it's a visualization showing what task or what type of tasks are due within the next 30 days. And the next 30 days is going to be a little bit of a busy activities across the board for the 3 counties. So I will pause there before transitioning over to Yang to discuss the wave 3. And Michael, John, not sure if there are any, we'll turn it over to you.
Catherine, thank you. This very informative presentation. I'm just wondering about some of the yellow areas, specifically reports refactoring that may have a significant impact on some of the Calhoun counties, how closely we're tracking that and how much progress is being made in those areas. That and interfaces.
So for the ad hoc reporting, this is both Gainwell as well as the consortium are heavily involved in this effort in prioritizing those reports. So for Contra Costa, they have identified approximately 24, of which some have already been developed and working with the counties on that validation. For Santa Clara, we continue to monitor this with them. There are weekly reports on the burn down of those of the effort, as well as the prioritization of what are the must-haves for day 1. On the interface aspect, again, this is specifically for Santa Clara. Since the timing of this report, they have completed 6 of the 10 and are making great progress. The project teams are meeting with the counties weekly on both of these efforts and will continue to do so. And John, or I'm not sure if Dawn is on, if there's any additional information regarding the ad hoc reporting.
Yeah, I just think it's a top priority. It's been escalated within the counties. The counties are making every effort. Now we have the must-haves, Gainwell's engaged and working through that. And we appreciate their effort on that. And they're getting through the highest priority. So that's why we need to prioritize them, and they're working through that. And as you can see, Tulare County hasn't identified any critical reports, so they're good to go.
Okay, good. And yeah, this is great. I really want their directors to be aware of the importance of pushing in those areas, because those will be what they rely on, post go live. Okay, great. Any other questions from our board members or our state partners on this presentation?
Michael, we're still on. It's waves 2 and 3. I think.
We didn't get to 3. You're right.
We're going to do Young's going to do a quick overview of 3.
Chair's privilege to go ahead and start asking questions out of turn here, but
no problem. No problem.
All right, we'll go ahead and continue.
Thanks, John, and good morning, JPA board. I'm going to be off camera because I'm going through some internet connections to hopefully save a little bit of bandwidth so you all can hear me. And I'm going to keep this a little bit brief, very much similar, all the same similar slides that we just saw Catherine walk through with wave 2. This is the critical path, or we also call it the Gantt chart, and where we are now, where we headed, and the high level activities that are taking place and will take place from now until wave 3 go live. So I won't spend too much time on this. Let's go on and move on to the next slide. So we're right around the T-4 mark, and lots of activities going on and lots of activities that will be taking place for now. So I'm going to highlight these areas. The 2303 release will be targeted for March, so the work there hasn't quite started yet, as they are still focused on the 2301 release. In terms of contact center, the contact flows have all been approved by all 3 counties. And those SCRs are now in progress. Those designs for those SCRs are in progress. Around imaging, this is an ongoing activity where the counties are working on exporting their legacy images, and Highland continues to receive and upload those images to the production environment. And again, this goes all the way until go live. Benefits Cal readiness, those activities don't start until January. Central print kickoff and configuration meetings have been held, and the validation meetings are in progress and as needed, scheduled as needed with those 3 counties. UAT prep and execution, all of those activities for all 18 counties completed in September. In terms of interface partner testing, both for county and state testing, those activities will start in January, and the pre-IPT activities are taking place now in terms of network connectivity and testing those through those items. Conversion as of the date of this data, December 2nd, there are the 63 unresolved defects, which were discovered from CDD and CDT activities prior to Wave 1 go live. And again, just as a reminder, these are primarily level priority 3 and 4 defects, which do not impact eligibility, EDBC, and or any of the issuances. County data validation for Wave 2 will begin January 30th and go for 2 weeks through February the 10th. And then from a technical readiness and the network circuit delivery changes and integrations have completed, and the testing for network IPT and ad hoc readiness, those are in progress now to prepare for IPT testing, which occurs next month. And again, and here, one note here, performance testing does not start until February. Let's go on to the next slide. Moving on to training, curriculum, the development of curriculum, those are in progress and is on schedule to be completed before the early training begins for their early training participants and train the trainers, which start on January the 17th. And for end users, those will begin on February the 27th. Right now, the training team is working with those early training staff and train the trainers for their WBTs. And those activities did begin on November the 28th. So for change discussion guides, all 3 counties have signed off on their CDGs, and the OCM team is in the process of releasing the December infographic, which does have a focus on notices of actions and caseloads. BPR activities have been signed off and completed quite some time ago. The process simulation team has confirmed county participants for this activity, and the kickoffs did take place this week and completed this week. Configuration, those activities, the kickoffs for all 3 counties actually took place last week. Quickly rounding out this page, implementation readiness. So the implementation team has started work on the county profiles, which is a documentation on caseloads in the counties, the number of staff, the types of offices, all of the very logistical things that we need to plan out for the Wave 3's post-implementation support model. So we are starting work on that, and we will start the engagement with those Wave 3 counties in this upcoming year. One quick note here, county prep will begin on March the 13th for the Wave 3 counties. And help desk, the kickoffs conducted on September the 27th. Delegated admin trainings were hosted in October on the 26th. And the county fulfiller trainings actually took place last week. So we're set to go with those informational presentations for our help desk. And here, county ad hoc reports, Wave 3 counties have identified 381 out of the 829 reports that need to be refactored. And the reporting team, as well as the Gainwell team, they're both working with the counties to develop and refine these reports. Let's go into the next slide and focus on county readiness. Again, these areas and statuses do align with the project readiness areas that I just went through. So all 3 counties are showing on schedule for all of the 6 readiness areas. The exception is integration readiness, which don't start until next month. Quick note here, mock cutover is scheduled for all 3 counties in January. And then one thing to note here individually per county is that Orange has identified 235 reports, Santa Barbara has 84, Ventura has 62. And again, one quick note here is these have been the initial identification of the reports that the counties have identified. This may be a moving target, and these numbers may change in the upcoming months as the counties continue to work with the Gainwell team on the development and refinement of the ad hoc reports and what is actually needed to be refactored prior to go live. So Wave 3 counties have completed 56% of all of their activities. Great job, huge number of tasks. So kudos to Orange, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. And the pie chart just shows that the tasks due in the next 30 days, which we'll be focusing on 50 tasks within those 4 areas of readiness. And that completes my Wave 3 readiness updates. I'll turn it back to you, Michael, for any questions.
Thank you. I do have a question is, and On is on here as well, just to make sure that Orange County is, you know, it's green for a pretty sizable amount of ad hoc reports. Just that the green is representative of where you guys are and how you feel about where you're at, because the number's big.
Yeah, the number's big. We do have a lot of customized report that we're looking at. We did look at that, and I think my team is looking at to see if there's an opportunity for us to narrow it down, just to make sure we're successful. But from my understanding, everything is going well. They haven't presented any major challenges to me at this time.
Okay. And just based on the size, it might be a good exercise to categorize them based on business impact. So that way you have them even prioritized if it comes down to it. I will open this up for any questions or comments from any of our board members or our state partners on this whole presentation, which Jan did a great job and Catherine before her. All right, the story was told well. Okay, hearing none, any public comment on it before we move on to the next item? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go ahead and drive ahead. And that takes us into, so we're going to overlap back into waves. It goes from 2 to 6 on key risks. So we will be covering waves 2 and 3 in the risk area here, as well as the other. Correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
So I will go ahead and kick us off again on this, and we'll also be relying on Dan and Rachel to provide color commentary as we go through. So I'll first start with our one red risk, which is risk 258, regarding the CalWIN conversion cutover window, being at risk of completing past the 84-hour window. If you recall, for waves 2 through 6, due to the very large data volumes that are coming across, we have had to divide those into a cutover B event, which includes the active cases plus closed cases with 2 years of history, and then the C event, which is the remainder of the closed cases that meet data retention policy. So we're in process of running the mock conversion for wave 2 right now. The 2B recently completed. The team is tabulating the results from that to understand how we are progressing in regards to that 84-hour window. Waves 2C, which is that second event with the closed cases, we will be executing and having those results next week. So we forecast that we will be able to start sharing the results of those runs within the next week. For waves 3 and 4, we will, again, those are currently on the schedule as well for running through the mock process for the appropriate timeframes. Right now, we're focusing on the wave 2 as that's the current in the pipe flowing. So 268, Dan, I'll go ahead and let you talk about 268, which is the overriding risk for the project.
Thanks, Arnold. So 268 is the overarching parent risk for implementation readiness for each of the waves. It captures areas such as overall application quality, performance of both the application and subsystems, the readiness for areas such as imaging and batch, support activities, the training materials and resources to provide that capability, and then some county prep activities like extracting images from legacy systems, getting those reports refactored and interface partner testing. A lot of those details are going to be covered in these sub-risks from Arnold and Rachel. The one item I wanted to highlight that we're also tracking specific to application quality and conversion is the defect resolution coming out of the converted data validation step. Each wave has the opportunity for each of the counties to work their data through the application, and out of that comes CDV defect counts, as well as learnings from wave 1 go live. So we have a daily debrief from wave 1 go live. There's a log of resolution activities that have come out of that over the past 6 weeks. About 70% of those items are resolved within the wave 1 data set. What we also do is track if there are updates required to the conversion programs to make things better for waves 2 through 6. So that's an item that we also track as part of our weekly status reporting from overall application quality and CDB defect resolution process. With that, we're on to 237.
And I will pick up with 237. And this involves the scaling of the batch for 58 counties, may have an impact on system performance. Again, the reason why we have this yellow across all the waves is we are testing this on a per wave basis. So the output of the mock conversion that I talked about in risk 258 actually then gets copied into our online performance test and our batch performance test environment. So for wave 2, it represents a 45 county data set, the 42 production counties plus the 3 counties included in wave 2. We are currently going through the batch and online performance testing. We have 2 more runs of our batch performance test. The previous runs are showing that we are meeting the SLAs for wave 2. So wave 2, we are trending towards green on that, towards the completion of those batch runs. For waves 3 and 4, again, or actually 3, 4, 5, and 6, we will continue to do the process as those golden data sets become available out of the mock conversion runs. We will do the same thing of move those into our online and batch performance testing and continue to run the performance test against those to verify that prior to the go live, we have a high degree of confidence that we will be performant and meet the SLAs. On top of all of those, we are creating a 58 county data set. What that is we are in process of running all of the conversions for wave 1 or 2 through 6 to create the end results. We're pulling the data over from the CalWIN system for the remaining 16 counties and adding that to the 42 county production. And that data set will be taken through both online and batch performance testing towards the end of January and February. That way we have an earlier indicator if we have any major issues that have to be tuned out prior to encountering them as we go through the individual waves. So we continue to work to mitigate this risk on multiple fronts. Moving to 240. 240 is also related to scaling. This is the production operation. So if you think about the integration that has to occur, we talked about the interface partner testing and progress for waves 2 and 3, as well as if you look at the nightly batch run, there's an exchange of files that go on between the counties and CalSAWS for warrants and et cetera, that we have. Okay, are you?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I'll back up a little bit on the production. I just encountered a brief blip. So for the scaling, this is the interchange of files between the 2 interfacing, or between the counties as well as CalSAWS. And so it's establishing the processes for the communication between CalSAWS and the counties on the interchange in case there are any issues producing those files, as well as the integration into the use of ServiceNow, into the overall production communications in the event that there are releases that are occurring, as well as if there are any issues with production on that day. It's making sure that those counties are integrated into that communications network. So we're continuing to scale that for waves 2 through 6, and we'll track that on a per wave basis. Moving on to 276. This is specifically for wave 6 and delivery of the golden data set 13, which is really a 58 county data set as well. On the current schedule, it is scheduled to be delivered at T-1, which is a month before go live. We are working to back that up, and we have a couple of approaches that we are finalizing with the consortium that looks like we will be able to deliver that in the July timeframe, in time for support of the interface partner testing, process simulation, and county data validation. So we believe that this is trending towards green and will be turned green once that plan is finalized, and we'll be able to report back in January on that. Rachel, I'll turn over to 278 with you.
Thanks, Arnold. So updates from last month to this month on 278 are tied to two specific areas, which is our model and approach for post-implementation support, as well as the Go Live packet that we provide to the counties for items that they may encounter where they may have to have some additional support. As it relates to the post-implementation support, we were using the information coming out of Wave 1 to inform if we needed to make any changes to the Wave 2 approach and beyond. There were some lessons learned that we did glean from Wave 1 in terms of trying to, I'll say, collapse a little bit of our structure so that it's not as tiered, so that the counties are getting access to individuals more quickly and getting into the right subject matter experts and guidance that are supporting them. So we're working through that model and updates for Wave 2. It is an ongoing activity that we will be doing for the future waves as well, because we anticipate we're going to continue to learn lessons and refine the model as we move along. For the Go Live packet, that was intended to be modified with each wave, because as the system is making changes and there are conversion updates that are being made, we are actually making modifications to that Go Live packet. So we are, much like with the post-implementation support approach, it's something that we're doing on an ongoing basis. We are going to continue to keep this in an amber status, just so that we can continue to monitor it based off of feedback from the current and the preceding waves. Arnold, I'll turn it back to you for 279.
All right, thank you, Rachel. So with 279, this is related, much like we talked about with the Wave 1, and just making sure that the counties are able to submit their fiscal and state reports timely as they migrate to CalSAWS. So the project teams are working ahead of time with the counties to show the reports that are coming out of CalSAWS, answer the questions around those, and prepare the counties for the use once they cut over. We continue to leave this in an amber status, just as a monitoring as we're working through that with each of the counties. There isn't any county that is in bad shape on this. It's just more due to the importance of this. We're continuing to maintain heightened risk and heightened attention on it. If we move to the next slide, please. So on 262, Rachel, you can take that.
Yeah, thanks, Arnold. So 262, we had a couple of changes from the previous month. What this is used to track is making sure that the counties are getting the information that they need and that they're getting it timely to complete their readiness related activities. Last month, we had requested from the Wave 2 counties feedback around where they felt they were in terms of getting the information that they needed. Had it been incorporated into the work plans and the checklists appropriately, and did we have the most current status? So we were last month at an amber status. We have turned to green for Wave 2. For Waves 3 and Wave 4, we still have some updates that need to be done to the work plan. To make sure that we have the most current information for those two waves, we are working with the counties for Wave 3 and Wave 4 to also add some more county-specific activities. We found that with Wave 2 counties, it was extremely beneficial to include, beyond just the base set of activities, some more county-specific items as well, so that the counties could measure their overall readiness. So Waves 3 and 4, we have a little bit of an area to address, and then in 5 and 6, we're good to go at this point. Arnold, back to you for 264.
Yes, 264 is related to the preparation of the counties for the imaging migration. And so you heard Catherine and Yang give the detailed status. Waves 2 and 3 are green and progressing well. The only reason why Wave 4 is currently in an amber status is San Diego County had an original forecasted issue where the migration of their images were going to take longer than the time that we had in the schedule. San Diego was able to work with their vendor in order to accelerate the export of those images and is trending back towards green. So from that perspective, it's good news. And then waves 5 and 6 are also well in hand as far as the planning and the testing. For risk 269, again, Catherine and Young went into more of the details on 269. So I'll just say this is related to the ad hoc reports and being able to refactor the ad hoc reports, as well as any ancillary systems. So we continue to work with the counties and monitor progress for each of the waves and provide assistance for the counties as needed for this. But we continue to monitor at an amber status, just because there is a lot of work that is going on there at the county level. So with that, that completes the risk review. Michael will turn it back for questions.
Okay, and that, you know, the big red area on the cutover window, that's one I know, Arnold, that you've got your eyes on for us, and we'll continue to keep looking at that to see if the measures we've done in the other waves actually can help us keep closing that gap.
Yes, and we'll be in position to start sharing those results coming out of these mock conversion runs that are in process. So we'll be communicating next week on this.
All right, and hopefully we'll be able to change it. What is it, amber? Is that the?
They're red right now.
Yellow and red. Is it amber?
It's a California sunset.
Yes. Okay. Progress. Okay. Any other questions or comments from our board members or our state partners on this very important presentation? Hearing none. Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Rachel, for staying on top of that. Appreciate it. All right. We'll be moving on to our next item. So I believe that's release and policy updates. Is that correct, John?
It is, Michael, and we're going to start out with CalSAW's release, and then we're going to be giving a COLA update. So Lisa, Karen?
Hello, everyone. So we'll be covering the CalSAW's release and policy update today. What we wanted to do is, as we close out what has been a very busy year, is just cover a couple of items that are in flight, and as we turn the corner into 2023, what we're already working on. So this past weekend, as reported last month, we had scheduled to run a number of different COLA processes. So we did run our statewide minimum wage batch process to affect the change to the new minimum wage that's effective January 1. We ran a CAPI COLA, and we ran the SSA COLA. We did not run the SSI COLA, so I'm going to take a minute here to explain where we're at with the CalFresh SSI COLA and what our new plan is for that particular COLA process. So this COLA process is multi-step. In the first step that we need to execute, which we did in fact execute back on the 6th of December, is we exchange a file with DHCS. So we send a list of recipients to DHCS. They in turn pull down some very important information into a return file that includes eligibility amounts and payment amounts. So when we receive that return file on the 6th of December, we process that in the system. And what that does is it updates the SSI, OPA, or income records in the system. So it's an update that needs to occur before we run batch EDBC. So as we ran that update, we were getting a very high exception rate, which is abnormal. We should get a very low exception rate. So in further analyzing that file, and we had to have an emergency call with CDSS and DHCS. And this, in fact, was noted by the Calwin Consortia as well on their file. Both files were having over a 90% exception rate. So we had an emergency meeting there to ask for a review and a look at a deeper dive into the file we've received. And DHCS did confirm that there was a synchronization issue in the file between the eligibility amount data element and the payment amount data element. So where we're at today is we in the CalSource system, we did run and some records were updated. Last night, we ran a data change to reverse those records that were updated because we want to reset before we run this process again. So we reset those OPA records to the previous values. Next week, we are working with DHCS to get a updated, revised return file for both systems. We are going to do the scrutiny on those files before we process those files, again, to update the OPA records in the system. And the current plan is that on January 7, both CalSource and Calwin will run the batch processes, the batch EDBC, to affect the changes for the those households in the CalFresh SSI COLA. We have reviewed this plan with both DHCS and CDSS. Obviously, there's dependencies there, so that is the current path forward that all entities have agreed on at this point in time. So we continue to work forward with that and monitor those activities very closely throughout the next few weeks. Next up on the schedule here, we have our January release. As Catherine reported, we are in system test. In fact, we're over 70% executed on this particular release. So we are moving, progressing well on the execution in readiness for the January 23rd deployment date. As we head into February, lots of activities. Obviously, we've heard many of the preparation activities as we head into wave 2. One of the key activities that we're looking to run in both systems is the FPL COLA, currently targeted for the weekend of the 18th of February. There is an asterisk there. We are working with DHCS. We are dependent on getting the values for that COLA from the federal government, and DHCS will provide the draft values as soon as they have them, so we can continue our development testing activities. And all entities are obviously working very closely, and this is a key event as we head into the new year. And then finally, our 2303 release is in build. So we are developing those system changes that are targeted for March, and we are in our build cycle for that release right now. If we scroll forward, I think we can skip the next slide. This was all about the SSI COLA, and I pretty much covered this in my update. So some quick highlights in 2301. We do have, as usual, a mix of policy items going in. We have, for the RCA program, an increase in the eligibility period. That policy is effective to change from an 8-month eligibility period to 12. We have the EBT, the new benefit type for EBT scans is going in, and the changes going into January include all the reporting updates to take account of that benefit type. As we look forward to the PHE unwind, and I know Karen has an agenda item about this a little bit later, we are working on a report there. That report will be in the system. Counties will have access to that. And then finally, one of the items that the counties have been requesting every year, we request the holiday calendars and important dates from the counties. We'll be adding a quick link in the application so that that can be viewed, often going back through what did I respond in that CRFI. This will present the information in the application. So if a county has any concern about those dates or have any updates, that's a quick place they can look to verify what is currently there and if any changes need to be made. So again, 2301, January will come up very quick as we cross through the new year. We do have a webcast plan for the 17th, green light for the 18th, and then if things keep on track, we'll be looking for that production deployment on the 23rd of January. And before I hand it off to Ona, I did have an action item in the minutes from last month. This is an ongoing action item specific to the former C4 counties as it relates to the decommissioning of the C4 read-only environment. As you are aware, we have extended that environment. The extension is dependent on system changes being deployed. And so where we're at with those system changes specific to adding online pages so that additional C4 Yourself e-application data can be viewed by the counties. Those online pages have been developed. They are in a system test environment. We are currently working with the regional managers to do a quick demo of that in early January. And we're currently on schedule to deploy those changes in January, at which point we will be recommending the decommissioning of that C4 Yourself read-only environment. And with that, I believe, oh, sorry, is it Rachel today?
No, I will cover it. I will cover it, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I will provide a quick highlights for the Benefiscal upcoming release calendar for the year 2023 as we start from winter through the summer of the year. And as we start a new year, we are working, Benefiscal and the CalSOS teams are working together for a support request system improvement, which is targeted for the end of the month. And essentially, this is targeting to enhance the existing support request functionality to include add 3 new categories to support for customers. These are supportive services, counseling support, or keep your benefits. But in addition to that, for the month of January, we are also adding a new feature such as for student population, new student FAQs to help students who live in different counties during the school year. There is an additional nudge to be added for report a change to assess customers so they can locate their income reporting threshold information on their dashboard, as well as a nudge for customers to review their tax filing status in their MC renewal flows. As we continue toward the winter, in the end of February, the Calvin Wave 2 rollout is going to happen end of the month, which will be followed by the Wave 3 in end of April. And as we move along in the spring of 2023, a release of information system improvement that we are working again with Benefiscal and the CalSOS teams are working together. Essentially, this enhancement or system improvement is going to help customers to protect their privacy, also allow them to engage with our community-based organization population or CBOs overall throughout their benefits journey. They engage them better, to coordinate better, to define and specify what type of data they would like to release throughout their benefits journey. That system improvement is targeted for end of May of 2023. And as we move on to the summer, in the end of June of 2023, the TimeWorks time clocks enhancement is planned for the month. Essentially, this system improvement is intending to help customers to view them at the time left on their aids for the 60-month CalWorks time limits. And if they would like to request an extension, they can also do that with this system improvement. And for the month of July, we have the Calvin, Wave 4 is planned out as a rollout. So with that, I will be handing over to Rachel for the Recommender pilot updates.
Thanks, Ona. We wanted to just provide an update on a request that we had received from the governor's office, and specifically from the Office of Data and Innovation, that's looking to increase enrollment across programs. So as people are applying for different benefits across the state, whether they're applying for unemployment insurance or paid family leave, to take advantage of those opportunities where they're already applying for assistance, to help them understand what other programs that are available for which they may potentially be eligible. And the governor's office is specifically targeting a couple of programs. They're targeting increases in enrollment in WIC in LIHEAP, in the Earned Income Tax Credit, CalWorks, and CalFresh are the specific programs that are being highlighted. So we had a request that had come from the office to allow individuals that would be coming from the Employment Development Department as they're applying for unemployment, as they're applying for paid family leave or disability insurance, or as they're recertifying for their unemployment insurance, to be able to present, they're calling it a widget, which would display a set of links to Benefits Cal and to Get CalFresh that would refer them for CalWorks and CalFresh programs. And it would land those individuals on the Benefits Cal site, where then they could explore what programs are available and apply for services. And so there is a pilot request that would allow this to take place for a short, very regulated period of time, to observe what the experience was and how many people actually selected to explore these benefits in Benefits Cal or Get CalFresh, and how many of them actually ended up applying. So the primary ask was for us to be able to receive these referrals that are coming in to Benefits Cal, and then to provide information around the applications that had been started, how many of them have been submitted, and then eventually get to the point of understanding whether or not those individuals had been determined eligible for CalWorks and CalFresh. And then the secondary ask, which is something that would be potentially done in the future, is to allow, I'll say, that reverse direction. So as people are completing CalWorks and CalFresh applications or Medi-Cal applications, that we would then refer them to other programs such as WIC, LIHEAP, and EITC. Today in Benefits Cal, we do ask if individuals are interested in WIC. We do not do it today for LIHEAP or for EITC. So that would be something that would be a future enhancement to include in Benefits Cal. We did share feedback from the counties that we had received about making sure that there was not there was not an increase in workload that may come as a result of this. Knowing that the benefit programs have different eligibility rules also was something that we had discussed. And so this initial pilot that is being looked at for next week, we are working on the date right now. It looks like it maybe Monday is going to be a very controlled pilot with a fixed number of referrals or redirects that would take place. And I see Gilbert's hand up.
Thanks, Rachel. I appreciate the idea of the pilot, and of course, we definitely want to make sure that as anybody that is eligible is aware of the services and gets the services that are out there. One of the things that I think is important that I'm glad that you had mentioned is following the applicant through, because it's unfortunate that I think sometimes when people are given the opportunity to apply, they apply, but they don't follow through. And so in regards to the follow through of this, as we're monitoring the success of the pilot, I think it is critical that we also look at all the way through, not just that they clicked on the link, that they maybe started an application, completed an application, but that what's the disposition of the application, were they determined eligible or not? And if they weren't determined eligible, why not? Were they over income? Did they not complete the process? Those kinds of things. I think all of that stuff helps determine the success of these kinds of pilots, because it's one thing just to present an opportunity, but it's another thing to present the opportunity to the right audience and really honing in on the right audience that we need to present these opportunities to. So I'm glad to hear that we are going to be looking at that entire thing. I have another question, and I'll reserve it because it has to do more with another idea in regards to Benefits Cal, and so I'll save that when that time's right. So I'll pause there.
Okay. That was the end. I was actually going to turn it back to Michael on the pilot just to give the update on the pilot.
Thanks, Rachel. And I think Gilbert's points are well taken. LA County shares the same concerns, just in terms of us making sure that the efforts that are put at doing outreach to different groups actually have a successful response or return on them. So that way we're getting the most for any level of effort. And this was one where I know that it's more exploratory, but we really should pull the data and look at what it actually bears in terms of fruit, and also looking at maybe other audiences, as Gilbert's alluded to. On had his hand up. So
No, you actually made my point. I really wanted to see if there's ability for them to share the data with us so that we could all learn together as to how that pilot worked and what we could do to help make recommendations to make it better, because I do feel that this is something that's going to be important going forward.
Yeah, on the pilot that they did a couple of weeks ago, they turned on this widget for an hour, and then they reviewed the results for an hour, and then they extended the pilot for an additional period of time, which I believe was a 24-hour window. And each one of those, they did a walkthrough of the results of that particular pilot. We are anticipating that we will get the same information for our pilot that would be coming from these referrals from the Employment Development Department.
Rachel, since you mentioned EDD, I can't help but ask, is it going to be similar messaging with EDD? Because the EDD messaging was a little bit broad and it wasn't really helpful to anyone except for maybe EDD or the state. So I was wondering if they've refined that process so that it's more targeted to individuals that may actually understand the process of going through various programs.
The widget itself has the widget itself, I'll say how it's displayed. At the end of an application submission process, or when somebody recertifies, and if they have searched on Google for things like food or I need cash help, is when this page is going to get displayed. The actual language that's on the page for the referral link was reviewed with CWDA and CDSS with the Office of Data and Innovation. And what the language that's contained in it is, it'll say there may be other, benefits for which you may be eligible. Here are links for you to explore. And then it would just take us directly to Benefits Cal. That's the information that would be available on EDD's website. It's very, I would say it's very small, because what we want to do is make sure folks are coming to Benefits Cal to get that information so that they could explore the program a little bit further.
And Rachel, one of the things on the pilot is to be able to follow those through to see, to make sure the quality of the applications as they go through. So, presenting something to somebody that would not qualify, to have them go through a lengthy application process and create work for the counties and result in that is just additional work. So there is going to have to be some tracking on that. And then we know that the Office of Data Innovation was looking at from the pilot results, potentially adding some intelligence to the widget to be able to dynamically present that based on some of those situations in order to increase the quality of the applications and likelihood of them being eligible. So I think some of those things we have to look at the data from ODI as it comes through, look at what data we would have to gather from the back end to be able to see how it goes forward and what enhancements would be needed on it.
Correct.
And I see that there is a comment in the chat, and it says, just curious, is the pilot with Benefits Cal only, or will it include CalWIN as well? And Rachel, I think we've talked about for CalFresh, for CalWIN, it would be going through Get CalFresh to be able to do that. So it wouldn't vary by counties. It would be a statewide pilot that would be going forward. on that. And many of those CalWin ones would be going through Get CalFresh. Is that correct?
Yes, they would be going through Get CalFresh. Yep.
And Christiana has her hand up and probably could add a little bit because CWDA has been really great partners in this. Go ahead, Christiana.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, both Benefits Cal and My Benefits Cal Win actually will refer people who are seeking to apply or access services in a county that's served by the other to the other system. So I think that there is a plan to send both CalWorks and CalFresh to Benefits Cal, as well as to send some of the CalFresh to Get CalFresh. That's my latest understanding from the state of the conversation. So if CalWin County folks are sent to Benefits Cal when they select their county, it will refer them to My Benefits Cal.
That is correct. Yes, there's not a direct link from EDD to My Benefits Cal Win. They would come through Benefits Cal or Get CalFresh. And if they come to Benefits Cal, we do have a redirect to My BCW if they are CalWin County.
Exactly, because we have historically, before Benefits Cal was the portal for what are now 42 counties, it has been that single landing place to be able to have folks be referred to that has always kind of had that redirection. So that's just a continued feature of Benefits Cal now that it is actually a portal itself.
Right.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the presentation?
Yeah, Michael, if I could just go back to slide 27, just it's a little bit on this Benefits Cal in general. And I maybe should know the answer to this, and I apologize that I don't. So I'll just ask it in regards to Benefits Cal functionality. One of the things that we kind of just continue to struggle with is making sure that our customers are signed up for receiving text notifications and phone calls and all those kinds of things. And something recently that we've come across is being able to do automated phone calls as well. Within Benefits Cal, is there anything existing or planned to where there is a easy checkbox to click here and sign up for text messaging, sign up for automated phone calls, sign up for those kinds of things? I know I've been an advocate to try to make it as easy to sign up as possible and consent for electronic communications as possible. But does it exist in Benefits Cal at all anywhere?
Owner, come on camera and check me here a little bit. Gilbert, there is right now, from what I recollect in our design, if someone applies, we asked for their preferred communication method, but that's purely on the application submission. If there is an ongoing desire to want to change that, where somebody wants to opt in at a later point, that is not currently available in Benefits Cal. And I don't recall that there is one actually right now in our list of requests that have come from the counties, but something that we could add.
So to add, Rachel, to your point, we do have, update contact references functionality for the customer. They can change what their preferred method of communication, as you mentioned. But I think, Gilbert, to your point, we don't have a direct way of getting it like a shortcut to get that captured and passed over to CalSOS, because at the end of the day, it is stored to send or distribute those text messages notifications. But we did not have, maybe I don't remember it having it in our backlog of enhancement requests, but we can definitely capture it for the future.
Yeah, we'll capture it.
So there's definitely the potential there if we put a request in or think that there is value in submitting it through committee and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Any public comment?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. That just made me wonder if there is a plan at some point to host a session for county staff to kind of show the functionality that is available in Benefits Cal, so that as counties think about how they can maximize all of the features, like either to support their own communication strategies or to support access to benefits, that they'll have a sense about what's available and can kind of craft visionary plans for like how to shift business processes in a way that can like support maximizing access to benefits with the features available.
So Jennifer is I think great point. We have reached out with similar requests prior to the wave 1 of the Calvin rollout, for example, and we have facilitated an end-to-end demonstration for the counties, and including not only benefit scale, but also what does it mean for the county staff as well to process an application, for example, like in some sample cases. And like we also had a Q&A session at the end of that demonstration. But is a need, if there is an additional need for counties for additional questions, or if it was helpful but we need a refresher, we are more than happy to accommodate that. So that would not be a problem. You know, we can work together with our CalSAS partners if there's an ongoing need for the counties. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Honor. That takes us to technical operations update.
All right, thank you and hello again. So as we introduced last JPA, we've created a calendar view of system availability. And so this is the view in November, and I'm very happy to say that it is relatively clutter-free, which means we've had a very solid month of system performance. The red on that Tuesday, November 1st, is related to the outage that we had with the batch and the recovery time with the batch. That started on the 31st and we actually went through to the 1st. And then we had a backlog incident that started with Highland, and I have another slide that'll give the details there. All the other days except for the 21st were green. On the 21st, we were amber due to the fact that with the 2211 release, there was a security change that was made that impacted Lassen and Shasta County users that resulted in system slowness between 10:30 a.m. and 8:05 p.m. We were able to update those security settings and reestablish the system speed at that point in time. So overall, very positive month for November across the CalSAS services. If we move on to the next slide, just to give an update, we talked about this originally last month at JPA. This is in regards to the imaging processing delays that occurred on November 1st. Just 2 points there. The images were available as well as they could be retrieved by the caseworkers. So the information was in the caseworkers' hands. And it was also resolved same day. So there was zero impact to benefits being issued, et cetera. So with that, additional steps have been taken with Highland to where they added 2 additional messaging nodes to the overall solution, because that's where the backup had occurred in the imaging, is that there was a backlog that occurred because of a system defect that existed as well that was artificially generating volume. So 2 nodes were added on November 9th. There was some re-architecting and changing of pathways for messages that was implemented on the 11th. And then there were additional fixes that were made to that logic, that's the compounding of the backlog, that also went in on the 11th. And we have had good performance with the imaging system since then. So that's the update overall. Michael, I'll transition back to you.
Okay, thank you, Arnold. Any questions on this technical presentation from the board members or state partners? Okay. Any public comment? Okay, thank you, Arnold. We'll go ahead and move on to our quarterly SLAs update.
And I will still stay here. And then we also will be covering benefits Cal, and then we have Sarah on for the Highland as well. So overall, if you look at our production SLA metrics going back to you saw the calendar for November, which was a strong month. And if we go back one more month, that's October on the metrics, it was another good month. We did have the production incident with our daily batch jobs on October 21st, where we did encounter the delay. And so that is why you saw the daily batch production job completion with the red check mark in October. And then the next one, our SLA number 12, the daily off-prime EDBC, so the eligibility determination and benefits calculation response times. Those were during the off hours when we had low volumes. But there were agents that were publishing a look back period that was longer, that caused the response time to exceed what the SLA was. So very low volumes, you can see 10 and 2 actually exceeded. So the team is looking at how we can potentially do that. This was really a data and historical look back period of multiple months, which typically takes longer for the system to do. If we move on to the next slide, the other area of update, if you recall, was there was a significant emphasis being put on SLA number 4, and that's our monthly help desk diagnosis time. And very happy to report that we are continuing. We have 3 months where we are continuing to exceed the target. So the action plans are holding, and this is a very notable accomplishment in the fact that this is after the Wave 1 cutover, as well as our 22.11 releases in 2209. So the teams are keeping up with the volumes, being responsive with responding to the tickets. If we move on to the next slide, the good news is, and you can see this with those results, you can see that we're in the low numbers of tickets that are actually missing the SLA. And in the month that you did. So we're in that 15 to 20 range for really the last 4 months. And then the other notable accomplishment is that if you look at the actual inflow, even with all the activities, the inflow continues to be reduced month over month. So that again is pointing towards system quality of the releases and of the events. So a good news story across all of the variables when you look at the responsiveness, the reduction in inflow, and really just be maintaining laser focus on the customer service aspect of this. If we move on to the next slide, we'll turn over to Rachel Roner.
Yep, thank you, Arnold. So for the Benefiscal SLA updates, I will start with the daily online transactions that and the inquiry screens that says here. Fundamentally, what this means is when a customer is using the system and they are like submitting an application or reviewing an appointment or requesting an update to an appointment, those kind of interactions that they have with the system. For this type of transactions, we are, right now the SLA is 98%, average response time less than 2 seconds. And since the December 2021 till today, we had 99.5% of these transactions were, meeting that the SLA target. So even if you look at have a deeper focus on the last month itself, we are also significantly exceeding that SLA target. So overall, including the 1 year or even the recent last quarter, we have been meeting or exceeding this SLA target for the first SLA here. If you can move on to the next slide, please. This is not this one, the one previous, the one before that. The second one. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is also the online transactions on the Benefiscal for the inquiry screens, but it calls it unbounded. Essentially, what this means is when a customer logs into the system on their dashboard, they would like to review their EBT balance, for example. For those kind of inquiries, are called them unbounded in non-technical terms. And for these type of transactions, again, the goal was having them less than 10 seconds for 98% of those transactions, and we are 99.58% of those since 2021 up until today are meeting or exceeding that. And even if we take a deeper look on the last quarter or the last month itself, we are also significantly exceeding that SLA target. So, which is good news. And if we can move on to the next slide, please. The third SLA I would like to share with today with this group is for the APIs. Basically, these are the web services or the data exchanges happening between systems, internal or external systems. So for these kind of transactions, the goal was the SLA was 98% of these interactions should be happening less than 2 seconds. And we have here, you know, as indicated here, we have 99.99% of them since December 2021 are also, you know, meeting or exceeding these the SLA target from the performance standpoint. With that, Mike, I will be handing it back to you for the next agenda item.
Actually, we'll have Sarah, if we go to the next slide, we'll have Sarah cover the Highland.
Awesome. Thank you, Arnold.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. This is Sarah with Highland Software. So each Highland imaging SLA is tied to specific targets, and a credit of the monthly subscription fee will be applied if Highland does not meet the SLAs for imaging. So we're going to start with uptime today. And uptime is the availability of the system in the cloud, including the ability to retrieve and upload documents into the system. So the monthly target each month is 99.9%. And as you can see here for November, there was 100% availability of the system. The next one, if we could move on to the next slide, is the monthly page view objective, which states that the data center will provide viewing access to a 70 kilobyte page document or smaller in less than 2 seconds. So the monthly target for that is 90%. And for November, 99.51% of page views that were 70 kilobytes or smaller took less than 2 seconds. If you're a numbers person, I have numbers for you. The actual number of page views for November was right at 7.4 million, and 36,605 of those took more than 2 seconds for the system to provide the page views. So that's how we got to the 99.51%. The next objective, if we could go to the next slide, is the database transaction objective, which states that database transactions will be completed in less than 1 second. The monthly target is 90%, and for November, we were at 99.94% of database transactions taking less than 1 second. So again, more numbers for you. In November, there were 1.26 billion total number of queries. And of those, about 732,700 took longer than 1 second. So that's what we have for the imaging SLAs for November.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, Michael, we'll return it back for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I really like seeing those numbers because we, especially during rollout, really want to make sure we have system stability. And Arnold, on the defect numbers going down and seeing the progress there as well on the quality side, that's really going to help us stay focused on the migration. And that's really where we really want our minds to be. So I appreciate you guys sharing these numbers. Any other questions or comments from our board members or our state partners on this operations update? Any public comment? Okay, thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it from both your guys' perspectives, and we'll go ahead and move on to Benefits Cal technical help desk update.
All right, still
I jumped over onshore. Sorry, onshore, offshore.
Absolutely. So what we had committed to is that on a quarterly basis, we would come and report on questions regarding how we were doing with release quality as we ramped up our onshore offshore percentages. And to bring it back into the perspective, with the change in the contract, we were going up to 40% onshore ratio or 40% offshore, working in our India delivery centers. And as you can see, with the 2203 through the 2209 releases, we're right around that 40% of those releases are being delivered by our offshore resources. So when you look at the contract, these say 40 to 42%. The contract is 40% for all work. So that includes all of the other just-in-time releases, et cetera. So that's why the fluctuation occur from release to release. So we are approaching that 40% overall on the team. And if we go to the next slide, we are seeing that we still are maintaining strong quality. And that was also reflected in the previous section when we were looking at the inflow of tickets. So we are seeing that quality remains as good, if not better, than with the onshore team. So that is a very good accomplishment as we go through. We'll be pulling through the 22.11 results as well in our next update. So if you move on to the next slide. From an overall defect backlog, we are seeing a little bit of an increase, and that was really associated with the wave 1 conversion. This is the first time we were converting CalWIN data over to CalSAWS, so we are working through that. It's a minor uptick, and we believe that that will be coming back down again in the next month and a half as we work through those. And a lot of those issues are what we would deem the lower criticality, the 3s and 4s, but we are focusing on making sure that benefits are going out with any of those defects. So then if we move on to the next slide, and I'll return it back to you, Michael, for questions.
Thanks, Arnold. I appreciate us staying abreast of this and the fact that the data is showing that the offshore's quality is kept up with the onshore. So that was really important criteria for making those adjustments, and also that it's creating that efficiency in the project. So I think this is panning out very well, and we'll continue to monitor and make sure that it stays that way. So thank you. Any questions or comments from our partners or board members? Any public comment? Okay, thank you, Arnold. So we will now move on to the Benefits Cal Technical Help Desk update.
Thanks, Michael. This is Dawn with Gainwell, and I want to walk you through the Benefits Cal Technical Support Service Desk implementation. So as a quick reminder, the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk is designed to support the counties in their efforts to handle Benefits Cal technical calls or contacts from the public or the CBOs. And the counties may actually do warm transfers to the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk, and or the client may leave a voicemail, or we can get an email as well. So those are our contact points. So where are we on our implementation? For the CalWIN Wave 1 counties, Yolo and Placer, we went live with their implementation date of CalSAWS on 10/31, and we have been receiving some calls from those two counties. Los Angeles County is prepared and ready to go live on December 19th. So that is next Monday that we will be going live in full with Los Angeles County. The waves 2 through 6 for the CalWIN counties will also go at their CalSAWS Go Live event. So that will, thanks, Michael. We are looking forward to LA joining. The waves 2 through 6 CalWIN counties are going to go live with their CalSAWS Go Live, similar to what Yolo and Placer did. And then for the former 39 C4 counties, we are working on scheduling dates for them. That will be by region. The strategy here is that we planned to take a look at our data from Los Angeles County for about 60 days of experience with them to get a sense of the amount of calls we're getting, the types, what kinds of things can we get in front of for the former C4 counties as well, and update any frequently asked questions so we can get that information out to the counties. That'll give us a chance to analyze all of that data, and then we will be rolling by region for those former C4 counties. In the meantime, though, we are meeting with each region in the January timeframe to be able to get their initial kickoff going, to get them started on making sure they have the processes and procedures and how they want to handle training of their staff to be able to interact with the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk. So all of that will be going on in January from an initial kickoff perspective for the former C4 counties. We can move on to the next slide. Gives you a little sense of the types of contacts we've been getting from the Yolo and Placer. We have a very limited amount of data right now from Yolo and Placer. And you can see that we have actually received on that first bullet point a few calls from Los Angeles County. As soon as the training completed, we did have some folks who went ahead and jump started there. So that last week of December 5th, we actually have some LA County calls rolled in there as well. but nothing like what we expect to see starting on Monday. Again, these number of contacts isn't really large enough yet to draw any conclusions, so we will be bringing back a future update after we've got more extensive data with our work with Los Angeles County to give everyone some better perspective on the amount of contacts we're receiving, and also to gather some information on the kinds of things that we are seeing from these contacts, and work with the Benefits Cal team to make sure that we coordinate any things that might help assist with minimizing the number of calls that and confusion that the consumers have. So with that, Michael, I'm going to turn it back to you for questions.
Hey, Don, this is John. Can you quickly just define for the board the situations where voicemails come in versus calls?
Yes, you'll see on here that we have had a few voicemails. We've also had some emails. Voicemails are typically going to be what you've seen here on the chart actually are because of their after hours. Obviously, with this low number of calls, there weren't any situations in which we didn't have an agent available. These were all situations in which the county was working past the Benefits Cal Technical Service Desk hours, and they left an after hours voicemail. We picked those up first thing the next business morning, and we replied to those in terms of contacting whoever we need to contact based on that voicemail. And then emails, of course, tend to come in because some of our counties work with their CBOs a lot via email, and in some situations they recognize that the email provided enough information to realize that they're going to need our assistance, and so they're just forwarding those emails on to us to handle them. So that's the situation for voicemail and email.
Thanks, Don. And I think we'll definitely know when LA's on.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, we might get a little slow ramp because the end of the year here.
That's true. Although I think you're already giving us the slow ramp. You started a week ago, and we're seeing definitely a much higher volume this week as well, all attributed to your early go-livers.
Yep. Well, we'll learn a lot, that's for sure. And I was wondering about how your contact point will be with the Benefits Cal team, who's doing those webinars and everything like that to update it from learnings that you guys have on the kinds of things that people might be struggling.
Yeah, we've been working with the Benefits Cal team throughout. So obviously we do have the processes in place where we can get them tickets that we can't handle. That's all those processes are in place and working today. We also have been working with them on our frequently asked questions. And as we're spotting ideas or things that we think perhaps could be updated, we're also providing that information over to them. But a lot of this information is really coming in and going on the frequently asked questions because are things that are not necessarily broken, just things that we need to make sure that everyone understands what the right answer is. But we're working really closely with them on anything we spot, because obviously our goal is to minimize the number of calls and then the amount of trouble that the users and the end consumers and the CBOs are having, right?
Okay. Is Rachel still on?
That I am.
Okay, so I know you guys are still doing those sessions, and I'm assuming that there'll be touch points from your end reaching back towards Dawn's to find out what's coming through the help desk.
Yes.
So we can stay as current as possible and updated as possible with anything that we're providing CBOs or members of the public.
We'll also be, Michael, asking the counties what they're getting that may never make it also to Dawn's team too. So we want to catch it all the different points of interaction to make sure that we have the most current information of what people are experiencing. Yeah.
So, thank you. Any questions or comments from any of our board members or state partners on this update? Benefits Cal Technical Help Desk. Okay, hearing none. Any public comment?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. I just want to say again, thank you for the implementation of the tech service desk. We're really excited about this being available. We know that not having had this available for the last 15 months has been very onerous for the community and the CBO community, and I assume for some eligibility workers as well. So we're really glad to see this launch, and we hope that in the future, there will be a more direct way for clients to get access to tech services instead of having to call and wait on hold at the call center and then wait, hopefully not very long then to talk to a tech person. We hope that as it's evolved, there will be a plan to have direct support available from the website. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. And I think for us, looking at our numbers and seeing what kind of pans out will help us direct us for the future. We'll be able to make some direction off of some data. So this will be really good. So thank you, Dawn. Excellent presentation. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next item. I believe that's PHE lift.
Not too much of an update today. Yeah, with the PHE continuing through the end of January, we have done an updated timeline for if the PHE ends on 4/30. We don't know that it will end 4/30, but the old dates were outdated, so we have taken the next step to move the dates forward, and we provided all of those. I'm not going to go through the slides today. We just went through them last month, but this provides all the same slides that we provided last month, and updates those dates. We will do this if the PHE continues any farther. We will continue to update the timeline so that everybody has the most up-to-date timelines, and we would expect to hear from CMS mid-January to let us know if the PHE is continuing or if it has an established end date. That's all I have for today. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Karen. Any questions or comments from our board member state partners on the PHE lift? It's been a discussion topic of many meetings now. Okay, any public comment on it? Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward with the Benefits Cal demo app. Okay.
Yes, wanted to provide an update, Michael, from last month. There had been requests coming from both the community-based organizations that use Benefits Cal, as well as the counties that use it or have to support it when folks are calling in from the public, about having a permanent established environment where individuals could get familiar outside of our formalized training deliveries that we have associated with releases. So wanted to provide an update where we stand. We have made progress on what we technically need for this training environment, because we were looking at it from two specific aspects from a technical perspective. We wanted to make sure that the environment was providing as close of a feature set to what users would experience in production as possible. So there's a dependency between Benefits Cal and other systems in order for that to happen. And secondarily, we wanted to make sure that we were providing an environment that was secure, given that it is a pre-production environment, and it would be open to anybody, potentially to the public for CBOs to use. So those were the two things that we had worked through between last month and this month. There are two outstanding items that we're going to be working through in the next 30 to 45 days, roughly. And they focus on what support is needed and how that support is going to be provided, both to the counties as well as to CBOs, to support their training needs, given that a lot of those training opportunities are going to be ad hoc in nature and not necessarily a formal structured training event. The second item that we're going to be working through is a process for which individuals will request access to the environment. Now, knowing that everyone would either be a production user, or they may be involved in usability testing or county validation or some other type of effort related to the release, we want to make sure that the way in which people are getting access to the environment doesn't introduce barriers or make it very cumbersome. So that's the second item that we're going to be working through. We're planning to bring back an update at the January membership meeting to talk about the support approach, to talk about the approach to requesting access, and then also if somebody were to leave, to make sure that that access is actually disabled. When the environment would be available, while we would, like to have this out for the Wave 2 counties that are starting in January, there are some things that we still need to work out. So we'll come back with a date when that environment is going to be available. And then the last item that we'll come back with in the January membership meeting is the plan for communicating and making the counties and the CBOs aware of the environment, how they get access to it, what the URLs are. So everything that they would need to know to actually use it. So that is the update for the demo app, the demo/training environment, but more to come at our January membership meeting. Michael, back to you.
Great. This is great news. I think this might be a really effective and heavily utilized tool. So I'm excited about it. Any other comments or questions from our state partners or our board members? Any public comment on this item?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the advocates community. We are really excited about knowing that this environment will again be made available to the CBO community. We had requested this as part of the launch of Benefits Cal, and it was available to us through the LA joining Benefits Cal when it was taken down and put the password protected. And we never really heard why our access was taken away. And so we're glad to hear that this will be coming back, and look forward to getting more information about how we can make sure that this is available for the community to be able to train their staff and make the most of the Benefits Cal experience.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your public comment, Jen. Any other public comment? Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move along. That brings up our CalSAWS member representatives meeting for January.
Yeah, Michael, this is just a commercial moment. Make sure that folks should have this on their calendar. Is January 26th. It's from 1 to 4. Quorum of the members of the 58 counties is required for that. We do have some voting items on that. There is the approval of the administrative budget for the unfunded costs that don't go through our IAPDU that we need the membership to be able to approve. So as you go into your spring budgeting processes, that you have those finalized numbers that have been approved by the membership. This should not be a surprise to the county fiscal managers. Our PMO has been working very closely with them. One of the items I mentioned last month is that there was a potential change to the bylaws to look at membership from the counties. After further review, that amendment to the bylaws at this point in time is not being moved forward. So I wanted to give a quick update on that. That we're just going to be doing the administrative budget update that requires a vote. There's informational items. This is not inclusive of everything. Of course, we'll be looking at our wave 1, our wave 2 and 3 status, key risks. I think it'll be more in a retrospective. Maybe we might have some panel discussions that are part of that. Our key risks. We'll be looking at where we're at on conversion, what the experience have been. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, our DEI, what we call our IDEA initiative, here at CalSAWS, we'll have an update from Chasney on how that's proceeding and proceeding well. Tom will be giving an update on where we stand with our CalSAWS procurement, and by that time, we actually should be receiving, have had received bids from the vendor community on our procurements that are out on the street. And as Rachel mentioned, but it is not here, there'll probably be some major updates on Benefits Cal, where we're heading on that demo environment, both available publicly as well as for the counties, and other items that we're tracking through on Benefits Cal, sort of a look back on what is the adoption rate? What are some of the numbers? How has it been used? What's the support model out there? What's the things that are up and coming? How are we evolving the support model and sort of pull that together? So we do expect that Benefits Cal will have significant time on the agenda as well. So please make sure that you have this on your calendar and can attend. And again, it's a public meeting. If folks want to have their staff members and things like that attend, it is definitely available. That was it, Michael.
Great, thank you, John. And I encourage all the directors, this is only one of 2 times we can do this, where all the directors can get involved, to please mark your calendars and attend. Also note that it's a Thursday. So those of you that are used to these on Fridays, I want to make sure you guys have noted that it is actually a Thursday afternoon from 1 to 4. So please mark your calendar accordingly. And we'll go ahead and I think we have one other item on our agenda to discuss, and that's the IV&V activities. So we'll go ahead and move on to that.
Hi, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Kelly Town. In the absence of both Apoorva and Brian, I'll be representing the IV&V team. And is my video on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So like I said, I'll be covering the updates for today. First, we have the imaging migration. We've observed positive progress as the project and Highland team continue to work on the imaging priority defects and enhancements. We're tracking the ongoing imaging migration efforts for the Wave 2 counties where Highland is receiving and uploading images to the production environment, and we'll be analyzing the results from the additional imaging performance testing to be held in January of next year. For batch performance, we see the project team continue to make improvements on batch processing and perform testing using the 45 county data. Additionally, we're monitoring the team's progress as they move through their performance test cycles. Moving on to the CalWIN data conversion, IV&V monitored the triage and resolution process for open converted data test defects and Wave 1 post-implementation findings and found it to be very effective. Our team continues to track the 84-hour conversion cutover risk for Waves 2 through 6 and have noted positive progress on this effort. Additionally, the table read for Wave 2 mock conversion we found went well with good coordination. And now that both 2A and 2B are complete, our team will analyze the results as it becomes available. For the CalWIN implementation readiness areas, we're seeing positive progress being made for the implementation planning and readiness activities for Waves 2 through 6. IV&V is tracking interface partner testing and process simulation for Wave 2. From our perspective, the efforts are going well. Targeted activities are finishing ahead of time, and county staff are receiving personalized attention to discuss their issues. Additionally, our team attended the Wave 2 County Data Validations Lessons Learned and would like to acknowledge the project team and all their efforts as the meeting had great participant interaction, resulting in feedback of what went well, along with areas of suggested improvements for future waves. For the Wave 1 State and Fiscal Reports meeting, our team observed the sessions to be helpful in providing important updates for the counties, as well as answering any questions or concerns that they may have. A couple of things our team is keeping an eye on: how the implementation support will be evolving for the larger waves, as well as the report refactoring efforts and the progress being made for future waves. And lastly, the CalSAWS and Benefits Cal releases. CalSAWS had another steady and successful code release with the implementation of 2211. Post-release support was well coordinated. Of the few issues raised, we observed that they were resolved quickly via priority releases. Currently, our team is now tracking the CalSAWS major release of 2301, where we are seeing good progress being made. For Benefits Cal, we observed the implementation of the November 4.4 and the most recent December 4.5, both of which were quality releases. And lastly, our team attended multiple Benefits Cal CalSAWS design sessions, specifically for the release of information enhancement. We observed good partner communication and coordination, as well as great feedback from the meeting participants. To wrap up, IV&V continues to see good progress from the project. They are taking the lessons learned from Wave 1 and applying them to Wave 2 and beyond. And that's it for IV&V, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. I really like seeing the progress, and you read my mind on additional focus on the report refactoring. So I'm glad to hear that you guys already are on top of that as well.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from our other board members or state partners? Okay, any public comment? Okay. That brings us, thank you, Kelly. That brings us to the conclusion of the meeting. And I just want to thank everyone for making your Friday available here for us. And I want to thank the project team for working really hard through another holiday season. It seems like it's become a norm for us. and all of the counties as well who are working to make this a success. I wish you all a very happy and safe holiday period, and blessings to you and your families. We'll see you on January 26th, a Thursday. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy
Thanks,
holidays,
everyone.
everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone.